So I decided to taste the water at some random restaurant we were at, and I'm tasting it and I'm just like, this has freaking chlorine. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like, so I'm like, okay, fine. I guess I'll have to order an alcoholic beverage because at least that doesn't have chlorine.
Nice. Make it a double, bartender. I've got to deal with these normies.
They don't even know that the Federal Reserve isn't Federal Reserve. Like, come on, it's so basic.
I know, right? It's like I totally forgot you didn't know that, dude. It's so refreshing, to start connecting with people, which didn't happen until years later. Like I had to kind of integrate a lot of this knowledge and really just keep it to myself. But I started to be able to have fun again over time. Once I got through that bargaining phase and into acceptance, it was like, okay, cool. And for a while I felt like Neo in the Matrix, like I can see the numbers, dude, like I can see through the bullshit. But with that, and I think Brandon kind of touched on this too, is like, there's with that kind of arrogance, that's not a good place to be. That didn't help.
Right.
It didn't help the way that I treated people. And I learned really quickly that, solipsism is a terrible, terrible philosophy. So yeah, that's when I started to get into spirituality, a couple of years after learning all of that deep knowledge and, and everything. And that's really shaped how I've developed now. 2013, 2013, I think is when I moved back here because I was breaking up with my girlfriend and all that in Montana. And I was like, well, I know this place is cheap. I can go there. Maybe it was 2014. Yeah. And I can go there. It's cheap. I can live my life and meet some new people, go out, people. It's a fun, festive environment. It's a college town. So there's and I had a lot of friends here just already from school. And so I started doing music again. And then I started become an entrepreneur for the first time and learn about that. I became a tree farmer. It sounds probably cooler than it was. But but we had basically ornamental type trees, like the pretty trees that you see that are in parking lots and different places. The architects design, the landscape architects design that. And so there's a big farm of just trees, oaks, maples, etc. And so I worked on that farm for a while, and I started to learn a little bit about business, but it was a lot. I was working way too much, like 60-70 hours a week sometimes, and it was a lot of machinery. It was a lot of roundup. My initial idea was like, oh, tree farming, cool, we can sip lemonade and look at the pretty trees. But it was none of that. It was like, get there in the morning, load an entire semi truck full of trees, push it out of the mud, get on a skid steer and then start digging trees out, and spraying Roundup and all that stuff. So I really didn't like it that much. And so I was doing that after the film stuff, and I got an opportunity in 2014. For the first time, I was looking back to get it back into film. And I got an opportunity to work as a coordinator for a prank show. And that is what I did for a while. I worked in the film industry from like 2014 through 2018. And I found a little niche. And I have still some great friends who are prank casting producers. And I wound up working and creating with them a lot of shows and movies and stuff. Some made it, some didn't. But like one example is the movie Bad Trip. It's on Netflix. It's Eric Andre's movie. I coordinated a lot of the stunts for that. I did a show called Double Cross with Blake Griffin. It was on TBS. Prank Encounters was on Netflix with Gaten Matarazzo. It was kind of like a Halloween scary prank type of show. I helped with that. And so I started, just because I was good the first opportunity, I got more opportunities. I was pretty well organized. I was, able to coordinate things and stay, relatively organized for other people. I have a hard time with it doing that for myself sometimes.
Yeah.
But when the heat and the pressure was on, I was like, focused. And that was one of those things too, where it's like, once you're on a production, you're their bitch for until it ends, until it's over, like you don't get to do side level stuff. Like there's no, go into open mics or whatever, or, moonlighting of any sort. You're just, as a producer, I should say, you're on that project and you are responsible for producing that project. It doesn't matter. You're on the payroll for as many weeks as it takes to finish that out, whether it's in the pre-production, production, or post-production phase, and depending on what you're hired for. But I did a lot of that. And then right around 2016 is when I found the reality transurfing book. That one specifically sticks out. I mean, so when I was tree farming, I was reading like Ralph Waldo Emerson and, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, all these old, great self-help books, because I was really like, I got to reprogram myself. I was seeing other people, they were having success, and I knew it was possible. I just didn't know how I would do it. And so I tried out the tree farming thing. Fortunately, I'd be on a ladder, trimming trees for 6 hours so I could listen to as many audiobooks as possible. So I really started to shift gears into the spirituality world, reading anything I could find on Buddhism, anything I could find on manifestation, New Age, any of that stuff, and incorporating that into the existing knowledge that I had picked up through, libertarianism or whatever, I guess you would call that. And that really shifted, and it kind of, those two worlds really met in 2016 when I found reality transurfing.